The grand wedding of the year was in full swing. It was the kind of event that found its way onto society pages, the perfect union of old money and new influence. Crystal chandeliers dripped from the ceiling of the historic Belmont Hall, where golden drapes framed arched windows. Guests moved through the ballroom like polished glass figurines, sipping champagne and discussing deals disguised as small talk. But amidst the opulence, a quiet figure sat near the farthest corner, unnoticed. Her name was Emily Carter, 15 years old, her delicate frame seated in a sleek black wheelchair. She wore a sapphire blue gown that shimmered like a pool of midnight stars. A thin, silver tiara adorned her soft brown curls, yet not a single guest had approached her beyond the perfunctory hellos. Her father was none other than Jonathan Carter, the powerful CEO of Carter Industries, a man known for reshaping business empires and breaking glass ceilings, but never for his warmth. Emily had been born with a rare neuromuscular condition that had left her paralyzed from the waist down. Over time, she had become accustomed to the background, attending events, present yet invisible, smiled at yet never truly seen. Today, at her cousin's lavish wedding, the cycle was repeating. People were too busy dancing under the strobe lights, clinking champagne flutes, flaunting designer labels, to notice the young girl whose eyes quietly begged for inclusion. But Emily wasn't bitter. She was used to it. Until a little boy noticed her. Across the hall, a man stood near the dessert table, watching the crowd. He was out of place, not in attire, but in demeanor. He wasn't schmoozing or pitching startup ideas. His attention was solely on his son. His name was Daniel Brooks, a single father, who had been invited as a distant family friend. Beside him was his 7-year-old son, Liam, a ball of boundless energy and unfiltered curiosity. "Dad," Liam tugged Daniel's sleeve, "why is that girl sitting all by herself?" Daniel followed his son's gaze. His eyes landed on Emily. That simple question, innocent, yet piercing, made Daniel's chest tighten. He watched how the guests floated around her, as if there was an invisible barrier preventing her inclusion. "That's a very good question, buddy," Daniel replied thoughtfully. "Let's go ask her." Approaching Emily, Daniel knelt to her level, his voice warm, genuine. "Hi there, I'm Daniel. This is my partner in crime, Liam. We're scouting for cool people to hang out with. Found you. Mind if we join you?" Emily's surprise was evident. She wasn't used to people approaching without obligation. Sure, she smiled, a cautious but hopeful smile. Liam, ever the icebreaker, jumped right in. "Wanna see my best dance move? It's called the Spaghetti Tornado." Without waiting for a reply, Liam spun around in a wildly exaggerated twirl, flailing his arms like cooked noodles. Emily burst into laughter, a genuine, carefree laugh that had been bottled up for far too long. For a few minutes, the three of them talked about silly things, superheroes, favorite desserts, and Liam's mission to sample every cupcake on the dessert table. Daniel treated Emily like he would any other kid, asking her opinion on Liam's questionable dance skills. It was the first time in hours Emily felt like she was part of the celebration. As the trio chatted, a subtle shift began in the ballroom. Whispers started. "Isn't that Jonathan Carter's daughter? Who's that guy with her? He's not from our circle." Guests who had spent hours perfecting their curated image were now observing a scene they couldn't categorize. Jonathan Carter stood by the bar, his face unreadable. He saw his daughter laugh, genuinely laugh, for the first time in what felt like years. A lump formed in his throat, but pride was entangled with discomfort. Jonathan was a man of numbers, strategies, and dominance. Human connection, especially with his daughter, was unfamiliar territory. For years, he believed providing the best care, the best school, the best luxuries, was enough. But now, watching Daniel kneel beside Emily, engaging with her not out of duty but out of humanity, Jonathan felt exposed. Daniel didn't stop at a conversation. "Emily, how do you feel about cupcakes? Liam says they're life-changing. I love cupcakes, she replied, her voice soft but bright. Well then, it's a crime you haven't tasted these yet. Come on, we'll race, though you'll probably beat us in that sleek ride of yours. With a gentle push, Daniel guided Emily toward the dessert table. Liam walked alongside, chattering about frosting flavors. And something magical happened. The crowd, for a moment, parted, not out of pity, but out of genuine curiosity. Eyes watched as Emily, no longer the isolated CEO's daughter, navigated through the heart of the celebration, accompanied by a single dad and his enthusiastic son. Liam grabbed a cupcake and presented it to Emily like it was a royal offering. Best seat in the house deserves the best cupcake. The sincerity of that moment, simple, unpolished, authentic, broke through years of polite neglect. Jonathan Carter could no longer stand still. His feet moved before his mind gave permission. He approached the small group, his towering frame casting a shadow, yet his voice was softer than anyone expected. Daniel, right? I'm Jonathan Carter. Thank you, for being human. Daniel smiled. She's an incredible kid. You should dance with her, Mr. Carter. Jonathan froze. Dance? With Emily? He had never danced in his life. He was a man of boardrooms, not ballrooms. But the look on Emily's face, a blend of hope and disbelief, cracked the final layer of his emotional armor. Sweetheart, Jonathan said, kneeling beside his daughter's wheelchair, may I have this dance? The music seemed to hush as father and daughter shared their first dance. Jonathan gently spun Emily's wheelchair, awkwardly at first, but with every laugh that escaped Emily's lips, his confidence grew. The ballroom had never seen a dance more beautiful. The ripple effect was immediate. Other children, inspired by Liam's fearless kindness, joined Emily. Adults followed, realizing the profoundness of what had just unfolded. The CEO's daughter was no longer the paralyzed girl in the corner, she became the heart of the celebration. Jonathan and Daniel shared a look across the crowd. No words were needed. The unspoken understanding was clear, sometimes the greatest impacts come from the simplest gestures. Before the night ended, Jonathan extended an unexpected offer. Daniel, I'm starting a foundation to support children with disabilities, but truth be told, I don't need another consultant. I need someone who understands people. Would you consider working with me? Daniel, a mechanic by trade, smiled. Mr. Carter, you don't need a degree to recognize kindness. I'd be honored. That night wasn't just a wedding. It became a story. A story that guests would tell for years, not because of the luxurious venue or the celebrity DJ, but because a single dad and his son asked a question everyone else had ignored. Why is she alone? Emily's life, once confined to corners, opened into a world of possibilities. Jonathan Carter, the CEO known for empires, found himself rebuilding something far more important, his relationship with his daughter. And Daniel Brooks proved that compassion doesn't require status. Just a willing heart. In a world where people are often too busy to notice who's being left behind, kindness isn't just an act, it's a mirror. A mirror that reflects what truly matters. It only takes one question, one moment of genuine human connection, to shift someone's entire world. And sometimes, the heroes in the grandest halls aren't the ones with titles, but the ones who simply refuse to walk past someone sitting alone.